So I wanted to make another quick video. I just came from the gym and I swam like maybe 10 laps, and I was using the edge of the pool wall just to work on some of my upper body strength that I had talked about in a previous video. And, I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, and I think that one of the things that's really challenging for me when it comes to exercise is that I have some really distorted expectations for myself of what moving my body is supposed to look like and feel like, and what that experience is supposed to be. And so I think that in my mind, I have this expectation. I think that I'm not in touch with how much strength I've lost over the course of my adulthood. I think of myself and I say, well, you were a competitive runner, you were a weight trainer, you were a swimmer. And so I feel like I should be able to enter into this space and be able to do certain things, maybe not as well, but certainly not as poorly as I actually do. And so today I got into the pool and I realized that like my form was terrible and I couldn't correct it. And my turns left me like much further under the surface than I should have been. I actually like choked twice. I was out of breath after like 2 laps. I literally had to stop and like get my bearings. I found that I think I like actually crashed into the lines at one point, like, and it was really frustrating. And I had to really kind of just take a moment and like get centered and remember that, like, kind of what I was talking about in my in my last remarks was that I move my body not for weight loss, not for the opportunity to attain some kind of like superficial goal. I move my body to celebrate what the body that I'm in. I swim because I enjoy swimming. Swimming for me is an incredibly meditative experience, which is what running was for me. I hated running a lot of the time, but there was a point in the process of running that was really euphoric. And I could reach that when I could surrender to the process and be present in the moment. And I can't do that when I'm worried about, whether or not my arm is in the right position, or, if my head is cocked in the right angle. And yeah, form is really important, but when all of my energy and my focus is on that, I also can't be present in the actual activity. So I had to really kind of allow myself to let go and just move my body, and have faith that like the more that I move my body, the more that I'll be able to develop my strength and my cardiovascular fitness, and that the form will come. And I think that what happens, and this is the point that I was trying to make, is that I become so frustrated with how far removed I am from the level of fitness that I once had, that I just don't want to engage with it. And so I said this to a friend of mine the other day. I was like, I think it's just hard for me because I talked with like a doctor, not long ago, and he had said, I don't want you doing cardio more than once a week, and I don't want you weight training, more than 3 sets in 3 muscle groups 3 times a week. And I was like, that's dumb. Like, that's not even worth the drive to the gym. And and I said to my friend, I said, I think that mentality just comes from this vision that I have of myself as I was a competitive runner and I was a competitive weight trainer. And she said, yeah, but today you're just a competitive smoker. And I think that sometimes I just don't have a realistic vision of how long I've allowed my body to be sedentary, and how much weakness I really have. And another thing that I need to be really hyper aware of is that like my body mechanics are really messed up. So like when I'm not hyper vigilant about the mechanics of my body, my posture, even when I walk, if I'm just strolling down the street, I don't engage the kinds of muscle groups that I really should. If I'm walking up a flight of stairs, I'm not using my glutes and my quads to propel me on to the next step. I'm engaging my calf muscles, which is not really like how the body is designed to move up a flight of stairs. But that's just what I do. I come up on my toes and I just pop up the stairs. It's what I've always done. And if I don't think about it, that's just what happens. And so as a result, my quads and my glutes, which are some of the largest muscle groups, are also some of the weakest muscle groups. So because of that, that muscle memory that I've developed, this poor muscle mechanics memory that I have, it's incredibly difficult for me to do a simple lunge because I don't know how to not engage with my back leg and just shift the focus to the heel of my front leg. I have to really, really think about it. It's like trying to play an F major chord on the guitar in open E. I just don't like doing it. My fingers don't want to go there. I'm like, fuck it, I'll play the power chord instead. And that's sometimes how my body is. If I really have to practice at it to develop that muscle memory. And I'm not sure why that is, but it's something that I've become aware of, and I have to really think about it. So, is what it is.